Hello, good morning everyone. We are the group number 3, and for today's discussion, let us discuss you Rizal's life, family, childhood, education, trial, exiles, and death. The real name of Jose Rizal is Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Realonda. He is also known as Jose Rizal, or Pepe, born in Calamba, Laguna on June 18, 1961. The seventh among 11 children born to a relatively well-off family in a Dominican-owned tenant land in Calamba, Laguna. He lived and died during Spanish frontier time in the Philippines. Rizal came from the mixed race. The Rizal is viewed as for half a significant family during their time. Researchers uncovered that Mercado Rizal family had similar hints of Japanese, Spanish, Malay, and even Negritos blood beside Chinese. And now, let me introduce to you the family of Jose Rizal. First, we have the father of Jose Rizal. We have Francisco Mercado Rizal y Alonso, born on 1818 and died on 1898. Jose's father, Don Francisco, was an honest, thrifty, and industrious man born in Binyan, Laguna on April 18, 1818. Studied in San Jose College, Manila. Rizal described him as a model of father. He became a tenant Dominican state in Calamba, Laguna. Now let's have the mother of Jose Rizal. She is Teodora Alonso Realonda y Quintos, born on 1827, died in 1913. Jose's mother, Doña Teodora, was an educated and cultured woman for Santa Cruz, Manila, born on November 8, 1826. He studies in College of Santa Cruz, an esteemed school for girls in Manila. She is also known as Lolay. Doña Teodora was the first teacher of Jose Rizal. She was a delicate woman, courageous, religious, hardworking, and well-read. And now let me introduce to you the siblings of Jose Rizal. We have first Lucia, born on 1857, died in 1919. She is the fifth child, married to Mariano Herboso of Calamba. Her husband died on cholera in 1818 and was denied as a Christian burial because Dr. Jose Rizal was his brother-in-law. Next one, we have Maria, born on 1859, died on 1947. Maria's nickname was Biang, the sixth child, married to Daniel Faustino Cruz of Binyan, Laguna. Next one, we have Concepcion, born on 1862 to 1865. Concepcion nickname was Concha, the eighth child, died at the age of 3 due of illness of his sisters. Next one, we have Saturnina, born on 1850 to 1913. Her nickname was Neneng, the eldest children, married to Manuel Timonio Hidalgo of Tanawan, Batangas. She and her mother, Teodora, provide the little Jose with good primary education. Next one, we have Olympia, born on 1855 to 1887. Her nickname was Pia, the fourth child, married to Silvestre Olvado, a schoolmate of Segunda Cartierbach, Jose's first love at the La Concordia College. Next one, we have Pasiano, born in 1851, died on 1930. the only brother of Rizal, the second among 11 children. Fondly addressed by his sibling Nor Pasiano, short for Tenor Pasiano. He studies on San Jose College in Manila. He became a former but later on a general of the Philippine Revolution. Next one we have Narcisa, born on 1852 to 1939. Her nickname was Sia, the third child. She worked as a teacher and a musician. Married to Antonio Lopez, also a teacher from Morong. Next one we have Josefa, born on 1865 to 1945. Her nickname was Pagoy. The ninth child. She is unmarried and epileptic, headed the women chapter of Katipunan, died as spinster. And next, we have Trinidad, born on 1868 to 1951. Her nickname is Trining, the 10th child, unmarried, member of women chapter of Katipunan, the longest living family member. And lastly, we have Soledad, born on 1870 to 1929. Her nickname was Choleng, the youngest child, married to Pantaleon Quintero, native from Calamba, Laguna, the most educated among his sisters. And to continue our discussion, let's have Mr. Daniel V. Janicio.
So for the continuation of our report, I am Daniel V. Junicio. But before I'm going to start my topic, I want to share this trivia. Did you know that Jose Rizal used marijuana? When he was 18 years old, Rizal took hashish, a drug made from cannabis or marijuana. His use of hashish, however, does not mean that he was a drug addict. During this time, hallucinogenic herbs like marijuana was used as an over-the-counter medicine. So let's move on to my topic. So my topic talks about the childhood of our national hero, Jose Rizal. The childhood of Jose Rizal can be characterized by his desire to learn. Jose Rizal was not a physically blessed or strong child. The life of our national hero, Jose Rizal, was interesting and full of amazing moments. Rizal was not just a nationalist. At a young age, he was a multi-layered personality who was a writer and an artist who could draw, paint, sculpt, and curve. Knowing the childhood of Rizal moved me. The childhood of Rizal was happened in Calamba, Laguna in their family garden where he and his playmates play. He cannot go outside because of the little boy is weak physically. Her first teacher was his mother. At a young age, he was already excelling on his education and arts. He already showed inclination to be an artist at the age of 3. He stunned his family and relatives by his pencil drawings and sketches and by his molding the clay. When Rizal was 5 years old, he was able to read the Spanish family Bible. By nightfall, Rizal related. His mother gathered all the children at the house to pray the Angelus. He is not just a good artist, but also a boy who loved his God. Jose Rizal is really such a good boy. At the age of 8, he wrote a Tagalog poem, Sa Aking Mga Kabata, the theme of which revolves on the love of one's language. It is really amazing that the little boy can write a good poem. There are a lot of people who influences and inspired Rizal through hereditary influence, environmental influence, and aid of divine providence. To develop his artistic ability, Rizal was inspired by Tio Jose Alberto, while his Tio Gregorio increased Rizal's hungerness to reading of good book. Tio Manuel stimulated Rizal to develop his brave body by means of physical exercises. They mold the little boy to be good on his fields and to be brave and strong person. Father Leonzo Lopez looked after Rizal's love for scholarship and intellectual honesty. Maestro Celestino is his first private tutor and Maestro Lucas his second tutor. Leon Monroy, who is a former classmate of Rizal's, Father Juancho, an old painter who was the father-in-law of the school teacher, freely give lesson to Rizal together with his classmate Jose Guevara in drawing and painting. Like Rizal, I was a weak boy way back my childhood, but then again, no one can stay the same. Change is a thing you can count on. The childhood of the little Rizal inspires me so much in a way that you want one thing to be yours and have the ability to do it, and it's a good thing, then go. Pursue your dream and work hard for it no matter what. Just keep dreaming and do something for it. Trust the people around you who will mold you to become what you want in the future. Even in his childhood, Rizal already knew how to respect the rights of others. He became a welcome companion for adults even at his young age, since he respected their moods and was never a hindrance to their activities. I hope that millennials nowadays, like me, will be like Jose Rizal. So that would be my report, and again, I am Daniel V. Junicio.
Good day everyone, I'm RV Calis Vicente from BPED 4A. This is the continuation of our report, and my report is all about Jose Rizal's education all throughout his life. So first, let's discuss his education in Calamba when he was a kid. His first teacher was his mother, Doña Teodora. Doña Teodora was very patient, conscientious, and understanding. She can teach Spanish, reading, poetry, and values through rare storybooks. She was also the one who first discovered that her son, Jose Rizal, had a talent in poetry. Also, his uncles, Jose Alberto, taught him how to paint, sculpture, and sketch, while Gregorio, also one of his uncle, influenced him to love reading, and Manuel developed his physical skills in martial arts like wrestling. Now, let's talk about Jose Rizal's private tutors. Maestro Celestino was the first private tutor of Jose Rizal, who was his parents employed to give him lessons at home. However, Maestro Lucas Padua later succeeded Maestro Celestino as his private tutor. While Leon Monroy, an older man, a former classmate of Don Francisco, his father, became his private tutor in Spanish and Latin. Now, let's move on to his educational life in Biñan, Laguna, when he was a student. June 1869, Rizal was subsequently sent to private school in Biñan. Maestro Justiniano Aquino Cruz, the owner of the school where his brother Pasiano brought him to study, was a very severe and disciplinarian. Maestro Justiniano Aquino Cruz was his first teacher. Pedro, the son of his teacher, challenged him to fight. Though Jose Rizal was younger and smaller, having learned from his uncle Manuel, which is wrestling, Jose defeated Pedro. And Andres Landanan challenged him also, or they have a match in arm wrestling. Now let's move on to educational life of Jose Rizal in Manila when he was a college student, or this is the college days of Jose Rizal. 1872 to 1877, Jose enrolled at the Ateneo Municipal de Manila in Intramuros. 5 years later, he graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree with the rating sobresaliente, or with highest honors. In 1878, he took up philosophy and letter at the University of Santo Tomas while studying surveying at the Ateneo de Municipal de Manila. After a year, 1879, Rizal enrolled in the College of Medicine at the University of Santo Tomas to cure the deteriorating eyesight of his mother, Doña Teodora, because Doña Teodora at the time was going to be blind. And 1881, he reached the age of majority. The license was granted to him. And after a year, 1882, he stopped attending classes because he was tired of the Dominican professors' discriminations against Filipinos, or against the Filipino students. And the method of instruction was very obsolete and repressive. So overall, Rizal had taken 9 subjects and finished them with varied grades, ranging from excellent to fair. He got excellent in all his subject in philosophy course. Now let's move on to the studies and life of Jose Rizal abroad. So in 1882, Rizal left for Spain and enrolled in medicine and philosophy and letters at the Universidad Central de Madrid. After 2 years, he began writing Noli Me Tangere. June 21, 1884, the same year, he received the degree of licentiate in medicine at the age of 23 and got a grade of fair. June 19, 1885, he received the degree in licentiate in philosophy and letters and completed studies for the Doctor of Medicine. And 1886, he studied ophthalmology at the University of Leipzig. February 21, 1887, he completed the manuscript of Noli Me Tangere. And March 1887, he published the Noli Me Tangere in Berlin, Germany, with the financial help of Dr. Maximo Viola. In 1888, he annotated Antonio de Morga, Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas, to awaken his countrymen to a consciousness of their historical past. In 1889, he wrote For la Solidaridad. And after a year, 1890, he published his edition of Morga's Sucesos in Paris. Continued to write for La Solidaridad and published the Indulgence of the Filipinos and the 4th installment of the Philippine of Century Hands. Also in 1890, he moved to Belgium to save so that he could publish the El Filibusterismo. In 1891, he received a letter from Leonor Rivera that she would wed an Englishman, published the El Filibusterismo with financial assistance from Valentin Ventura and Jose Maria Basa, September 18, 1891. Also, in 1891, he translated into Filipino the well-known French Declaration on the Rights of Man. And after that, he left for Hong Kong to practice medicine and operated on his mother's eye for the 2nd time. Also, he wrote the Constitution of La Liga Filipina. And in 1892, he went to North Borneo and informed Governor General Despujol his plan to create a Filipino colony to free Filipinos from being maltreated. That's all for my report.
Good day everyone, my name is John Paul Del Rosario and I am here and about to report to you the people that Rizal met during his travel and the homecoming. So, in Spain, these are the people that he met in Spain. First, we have the Paternos brothers, which are Antonio, Pedro, and Maximo. But I only have the picture of Pedro A. Paterno here. But these people are friends of Rizal, shared his ideas. They often held meeting and celebrations in their home. So, doon daw sa bahay ng Paternos brothers ay laging nagkakaroon ng meetings and celebrations with Jose Rizal. Next, we have Don Pablo Ortega y Rey. But unfortunately, I have no picture here. But Don Pablo Ortega y Rey, he is a rich mestizo who was a former mayor of Manila. Befriended Rizal due to him being in love with her daughter or with his daughter. Don Pablo Ortega has a daughter which Consuelo Ortega y Rey, which is a lover of Jose Rizal before, or Jose Rizal or Dr. Jose Rizal has in love with his daughter. Next, we have Consuelo Ortega y Rey, and this is she. Rizal met her in Madrid while he was studying. A young and beautiful woman, further described in Rizal's poem dedicated to her. So, gumawa po ng tula si Rizal para kay Consuelo. Next in the list is Senor Roses. I don't have her picture also, but Senor Roses, the owner of the bookstore where Rizal always buy. So, dun po laging bumibili ng libro si Rizal. Next, we have Suzanne Jacobi. And this is she. Suzanne Jacobi, a lover of Rizal while in Spain. Beautiful and pretty, as described by him. Confessed her love as he left Spain for France. Next is Marcelo H. Del Pilar. And this is him. Marcelo H. Del Pilar, an ilustrado and a leading figure of the propaganda movement. Founder of the famous La Solidaridad and a respected member of the Freemasons. Last person is Mariano Ponce. And this is him. Mariano Ponce, another principal member of the propaganda movement. Also the founder of La Solidaridad together with Marcelo H. Del Pilar. So those are the people that Jose Rizal met in Spain. Next country we have in France. So these are the people he met in France. First in the list is Maximo Viola, a very good friend of Rizal, the savior of Nolimi Tangere, because he helped Rizal when he became near destitute, or yung mga pag sinabing destitute, yan yung mga materials na naglack or lacking of materials nung ginagawa ni Rizal yung Nolimi Tangere. Maximo Viola helped him to complete the Nolimi Tangere. Next, we have Dr. Luis de Weckert, and this is him, a leading French ophthalmologist, or yung doktor sa mata. Rizal worked for him as an assistant. So, naging assistant daw si Rizal ni Dr. Luis de Weckert in France. Next, we have Pardo de Tavera. And this is she, a pretty girl. This is her, rather. A pretty girl and fiancé of his good friend Juan Luna. So this is Paz Pardo de Tavera is the fiancé of Juan Luna. Next we have Nelly Bosted. And this is she. And this is her, rather. A beautiful Parisian. The very girl who became the reason for momentary rivalry between Rizal and Antonio Luna, the famous revolutionary general. And those are the persons or the people Rizal met in France. Next we have in Germany. First is Dr. Otto Becker. This is him. Another well-known ophthalmologist. Rizal worked for him as an assistant as well. Next we have Dr. Karl Ulmer. Rizal stayed at his home. He welcomed Rizal with open arms, providing he was a kind protestor. Please bear to that picture because I have no picture of him or other picture of him. Next we have Professor Friedrich Ratzel. And this is him. A famous German historian. Rizal befriended him. Next, Hans Meyer. This is him. A German anthropologist. He is a friend of Rizal as well. Next we have Dr. Adolf Meyer. So Dr. Adolf, he is the director of the Anthropological Museum, also befriended by Rizal. So yun po yung mga kinaibigan ni Rizal in Germany. So ito po siya. Next we have Dr. Fyodor Hagor, a celebrated scientist traveler, author of the book Troubles in the Philippines, which Rizal read as a child. Next we have Dr. Han Virchow or whatever. This is him. Introduced to Rizal by Dr. Hagor. He is a famous German anthropologist. And last is Dr. Ernest Kiewelger. This is him. A German ophthalmologist. Rizal worked for him too. So those are the people Rizal met in Germany. Next country is Bohemia. First on the list is Professor Ferdinand Blumentritt. This is him. A kind-hearted Austrian professor developed a lifelong friendship with Rizal. Next we have Burgomaster. This is him. A kind town mayor who welcomed Rizal in Bohemia. Next in the list is Dr. Carlos Zepalok. This is him, a renowned scientist in Europe. He met Rizal at Liet Meritz. Next, we have Professor Robert Klutzak, an eminent naturalist. Also met Rizal in Late Meritz. So these are the people. And the last person is Dr. Wilco Henrich. He is working as a professor of natural history at the University of Prague in Hong Kong. Or in Prague, rather. Those are the people who met Rizal in Bohemia. Next country is in Hong Kong. He met Jose Maria Basa, a Filipino resident in Hong Kong. He toured Rizal in Macau. So Jose Maria Basa used to tour Rizal as he stayed in Hong Kong. Next, we have Jose Slans de Veranda, a Spaniard who served as a secretary of Gobernador General Terrero and became a spy by shadowing Rizal's movement in Hong Kong. So those two persons or people met Rizal in Hong Kong. Next is in Macau. He met only one person there, which is Don Juan Francisco Lecaros. This is him, a Filipino gentleman who accommodated Rizal and Basa in his home. Next, in London. First is Dr. Antonio Maria Redigor, a practicing lawyer where Rizal stayed at his home as a guest. Next, we have Dr. Reinhold Drost, a librarian of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the one who recommended Rizal to the British Museum authorities and famously called him a pearl of a man. Next, in Japan, we have Seiko Usul Osei-san, lover of Jose Rizal in Japan. She taught him the Japanese language, which he mastered within a week. The reason why Rizal almost got to settle in Japan. So she is the one who taught Rizal the Nihongo language or the Japanese language that he mastered within a week. And she also the reason why Rizal almost got to settle in Japan with her. Next, we have Tetsuko Suehiro. This him is a fighting Japanese journalist who was forced into exile by the government. Met Rizal on the Belgic and became friends. And the last person is Juan Perez Caballero, the Secretary of Spanish Legation in Hong Kong, and invited Rizal to reside in the Spanish Legation. So those are the people who met Rizal in Japan. Let's talk about now the homecoming. Rizal's decision to return to Philippines 1892 rather. So there are three reasons why he decided to return to the Philippines in the year 1892. First is to negotiate with Gobernador General Julio Despujol about establishing a Filipino colony in Borneo. Next is to establish the La Liga Filipina. And the third and last one is to disapprove Eduardo de Lete, who published a comment in La Solidaridad that Rizal has abandoned his country. And in July 3, 1892 rather, he visited Gobernador General Despujol to request a pardon for his parents, created the La Liga Filipinas in Tondo, Manila. That will be all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Slender Stroho from Biped 4A, and I will report the exile of Jose Rizal. So, the Despujol ordered the arrest of Jose Rizal and exiled to the Pitan on July 7, 1892 because of the four grounds. So, for number one, for publishing books and articles abroad that shows disloyalty to Spain for its anti-Catholic and anti-friar. For number two, for having possession a bundle of handbills, so the Pobres Frailes, in which the advocacies violated the Spanish orders. For number three, for dedicating his novel El Filibusterismo to the three traitors, which is Di Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora or Di Gomburza, and for emphasizing on novel's title page that the only salvation for the Philippines was separation from the mother country, which is referring to Spain country. And for number 4, for directly criticizing the religion and aiming for its exclusion from the Filipino culture. So on July 15, 1892, it is the date where Rizal exiled in Dapitan. 1892 to 1896, Rizal lived in Dapitan and served as a doctor, farmer, educator, cartographer, and merchant. The Casaril, or the commandant's residence, where Jose Rizal instead opted to live because he is unwilling to accede to these main conditions set by the Jesuits. So the commandant, Captain Ricardo Carnicero, which become good friends of Jose Rizal, that the exile did not feel that the captain was his guard. So for the Manila lottery ticket number 9736, who's jointly owned by Rizal, Carnicero, and a Spanish resident of Dipolog, so they won the second prize of 20,000 PHP, which they used to build a house, a clinic, and a school from the land he bought. And he still correspondence with European researcher despite everything precedes some species animal named after Rizal. And they named it Rhacoporu rizali, which is a frog, and Apogania rizali, a beetle. So Francisco de Paula Sanchez remain good friends despite differences in their beliefs, and help Rizal create a massive map of Mindanao at the town plaza. So he practiced medicine and later on operated his mother's eye. And he studies medical plants to be prescribed to patients. So Rizal found out that his enemies sent spies to gather proof that he was a separatist and an insurgent. Next is Matias Arrieta, a physician who revealed his covert mission and asked forgiveness after Rizal cured him. So Pablo Mercado, who introduced himself to Rizal, claiming to be Rizal's relative, a vigorous volunteered to bring Rizal's letters to certain persons in Manila. Made suspicious by the visitor's insistence, but Rizal's interrogate him. Florencio Nanaman, or Nanaman, from Cagayan de Misamis, paid as a secret agent by the Recollect friars. But because it was raining that evening, Rizal did not command Nanaman out of his house, but even let the spy spend the rainy night in his place. So Dr. Pio Valenzuela, an emissary sent to Dapitan by Andres Bonifacio. So we all know that Andres Bonifacio is the Katipunan leader that believed that carrying out revolt had to be authorized first by Rizal. So Valenzuela was able to deliver the Katipunan's message for Rizal discreetly. And Rizal firmly believed that a revolution would be unsuccessful without arms and monetary support from wealthy Filipinos. It had to ask for the help and support of wealthy and educated Filipinos like Antonio Luna, an expert on military strategy. So, Dr. Jose Rizal learned that his true love, Leonor Rivera, had died. He was in Dapitan at that time. In August 1893, Rizal successfully operated his mother's cataract or catarata. So Doña Teodora left Dapitan and went to Manila to be with Don Francisco, who was getting weaker. Shortly after his mother left, Josephine Bracken came to Jose's life. So who is Josephine Bracken? So Josephine Bracken was an orphan with Irish blood and the stepdaughter of Jose's patient from Hong Kong. So Rizal and Josephine Bracken were unable to obtain a church wedding because Jose would not retract his anti-Catholic views. So before the year ended in 1885, or 1895, they had a child but was born prematurely. It was named after Rizal's father, Francisco, died a few hours after birth. So, Ferdinand Blumentritt, in 1895, he informed Rizal that the revolution-ridden Cuba, another nation colonized by Spain, was raged by the yellow fever epidemic. Rizal wrote to Governor General Ramon Blanco asking for permission to volunteer and provide medical services in Cuba. As days passed on, receiving no reply from Blanco, Rizal lost interest in his request. But on July 30, 1896, Rizal received a letter from the Governor General sanctioning his petition to serve as a volunteer physician in Cuba. In the late afternoon of July 31, Rizal got on the Spania with Josephine, Narcisa, or Anis, 3 nephews and 3 of his students, heartily bidding him goodbye. They shouted, "Adios, Dr. Jose Rizal." So with agonized heart, he waved his hand in farewell to the generous and loving Dapitan folks, saying, "Adios, Dapitan."
Hello and good day everyone. This is the continuation of our report. I'm Chana J. Martinez, BPED 4A. Rizal asked for permission to travel as an army to Cuba in 1895. Nevertheless, his request was approved in 1896. Katipunan, a nationalist Filipino society founded by Andres Bonifacio, revolted through had no ties to the group and disapproved of its violent methods. Rizal was arrested shortly after that. On November 20, 1896, the preliminary investigation started, and December 8, 26, 1896 was the trial of Rizal. A Spanish army, L.T. Luis Taviel de Andrade, was selected by Rizal to defend him. He trialed by military court at the Cuartel de España. The document of testimonials were the type of pieces of evidence presented against Rizal, where it consists of 15 documentary evidence and 13 testimonial evidence. One of the judges, Colonel Francisco Olive, administered a series of interrogations as preliminary investigation of Rizal. Those who were constrained to testify against Rizal were not allowed to be cross-examined by accused. Judge Advocate Dominguez presented Rizal's criminal case, followed by the lengthy speech of prosecuting attorney Enrique de Alcocer. On December 28, 1896, Governor General Camilo Polavieja signed the court decision of decree that guilty be executed by firing squad at 7 a.m. on December 30, 1986 at Bagong Bayan, Luneta, and on December 29, 1896, Captain Rafael Dominguez read the verdict to Rizal, wrote an entitled poem later known as Mi Ultimo Adios, or My Last Farewell. And the last reporter is Stephanie Shane, R.D. Guzman. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Stephanie Shaina R.D. Guzman from the BPED 3A, and I am the last reporter. And for my topic, I will discuss the death of Rizal and his last arc. After a show trial, Rizal was convicted of sedition and sentenced to death by firing squad. Rizal's execution was implemented in Manila on December 30, 1896, when he was 35 years old. It is said that his execution was followed and created more opposition to Spanish rule. Like Spain's control of the Philippines ended in 1898, though the country did not gain lasting independence until the World War II. But Rizal remains a nationalist icon in the Philippines for helping the country take its first step toward independence. So now, we will know kung ano ba yung mga kaganapan bago mamatay ang ating pambansang bayani. Results last 24 hours. From 6 a.m. on December 29, the judge advocate Dominguez to formally read the death sentence of Rizal. At about 7 a.m., he transferred to the prison cell. In Rizal's prison cell, he was visited by two priests, Priest Miguel Sodera and Priest Luis Viza. They brought the medal of the Ateneos Marian Congregation of Rizal's membership and wooden statue of Sacred Heart of Jesus. At about 9 a.m., Rizal was interviewed. Time goes by, Priest Federico Fara came and advised Rizal to marry Josephine Bracken and forget about his resentment. From noon to 7 p.m., Rizal talks about various topics in a long conversation with Priest Villa Clara, who will later conclude with Priest Balaguer that Rizal either the Protestant or rationalist who speak in a very cold and calculated manner. After the conversation, Rizal left alone. Rizal reads Bible and Imitation of Christ by Kempis, and he meditates. Priest Balaguer reports to the Archbishop that only a little hope that Rizal is going to retract. At 2 p.m., Rizal confers with Priest March and Priest Villa Clara. At 3:30 p.m., Balaguer returned to the cell and allegedly discussed the retraction of Rizal. Then Rizal wrote letters and dedication and he had his rest. At 4 p.m., the sorrowful mother of Rizal and his sister went to see him. His mother was not permitted by the guard to embrace Rizal, but Rizal kisses her mother's hand. Dominguez was moved with compassion at the sight of Rizal's kneeling before his mother asking for pardon or forgiveness. As the visitors were leaving, Rizal handed over Trinidad, an alcohol cooking stove as a gift from the Pardo de Taveras, whispering in a language that the guards could not understand. He said that there is something in it, that something was known as Ultimo Adios. At 6 p.m., Josephine Bracken came into Fort Santiago and Rizal talked to her emotionally. The night of December 29. At 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Priest Power returned and convinced Rizal to trust him again and other professors of Ateneo. Rizal is emotionally filled and after remaining some moments in silence, Rizal confessed. Rizal had his last supper and attended to his personal needs. He told Dominguez that he had forgiven his enemies and the military judges and all sentenced him to death. At 9:30 p.m., Fiscal Castaño exchanged views with Rizal regarding their perspective about the professors. At about 10 to 11 p.m., Rizal manifests strange reaction and he asked guards for paper and pen. From road drops and copies on his poem recovered in his shoes, the Spaniards came to know that Rizal is writing a poem. At about 11 to 12 midnight, Rizal takes time to hide his poem inside the alcohol burner. After that, Rizal sleeps restfully because his confidence in the goodness of God. On December 30, at about 4 to 5 a.m., Rizal picks up Imitation of Christ, reads, meditates, and then writes in Kempis' book a dedication to his wife, to my dear and unhappy wife. And this very act in itself, he gives to her their only certificate of marriage. At 6 a.m., Rizal wrote his father Francisco Mercado and to his mother Doña Chudora, The Slow Walk to Death. At 6:30 a.m., Rizal was dressed in a black suit. Few meters behind his husband, guards while moving to his slaughter place and was accompanied by Luis Tavio of Andrade, 2 Jesus priests and more soldiers. His last words said in loud voice, "It is finished." Sounds of guns, Rizal vacillates. and Rizal was killed in Bagong Bayan, now called Luneta, in Manila. After 1896, August 17, 1898, Rizal's name was revealed and was brought to Narcisa's house until 1912. On December 29, 1912, Rizal's remains were transferred from Binondo to the Marble Hall of the Ayuntamiento de Manila, where the Knight of Rizal guarded. And that is all. Thank you for listening.